Welcome to another episode of How to Raise a Mazel Mentch. This month, we're going to be looking at the theme of power struggles. As parents, we all wish that our interactions with our children would be only pleasant and loving and enjoyable. No one wants to come home and wage battle with their kids. Unfortunately, a large part of parenting involves setting rules and boundaries, which does not always go over easily with kids. Children will test those rules and boundaries again and again, and the battle often becomes about who is really in a position of power in this household, the child or the parents. And it can be exhausting to try to win that battle. Even though your kid is just a little guy or gal, they somehow know just how to push our buttons. And to make it even more challenging, we know that the stakes are high because how we manage or how we avoid these struggles lay the foundation for our ability to raise our child as a mensch. What I find to be a really helpful approach to parenting is for us as parents to stop repeating ourselves, stop threatening, stop shouting, and just start thinking about the question, how might I be contributing to this cycle? How am I helping or not helping my child learn whatever it is they need to be learning here? And sometimes, in order for things to truly improve, we need to be ready to make major and sometimes minor changes, beginning with our own self. The Torah presents a unique approach when it comes to parental authority. On one hand, the Torah encourages the view that at home we need to be the parents with a capital P. Parents are responsible to enforce respectful behavior towards adults and towards parents. And at the same time, the Torah teaches us to model for children what calm, respectful communication looks like. What does it mean to maintain self-control and to treat others the way that we want to be treated? We are not dictators. We are role models. So, how do we do this? An important premise of good parenting is to try to understand the child's view on the world. This perspective can offer us insight into the child's behavior so that we can be more thoughtful and more effective in our approach. So let's think of this from the child's point of view and realize that children are in a position that most adults would hate to be in. They are always being told what to do. If we were to keep a written transcript of everything adults say when they're caring for kids, more times than not, we will hear command after command after command. Come here, stop that, put that down, no, go off. Now, if people spoke to any of us this way, we would hate it. This way of communication automatically puts a person on defense. It makes you feel powerless. It makes us want to say, no, I'm just going to do things my way. And in attempting to avoid power struggles with our children, we must begin by becoming more conscious of the way that we communicate with them. Let's try to speak to our children the way that we would want to be spoken to ourselves. After all, as we said, a basic premise of the Torah is to treat others the way that you would like to be treated. And this also includes our kids. So, for example, instead of barking, come here right now, obviously, usually at a louder tone of voice than that, a child will respond just fine and sometimes better to, please come here, I have something I need to show you. So the tone and volume of our voice here makes a huge difference. We want to be speaking authoritatively rather than aggressively. And especially with kids who tend to be defiant, when they hear that drill sergeant voice, their armor goes up and they prepare for battle. At the same time, speaking too softly or in too sophisticated of a manner can backfire as well. So I find that children appreciate being spoken to respectfully and they respond really well when they are addressed with confidence. They should hear, I mean business. At the same time, speaking concisely, short and to the point works best. Come here, please. Or come here. Or come here, please. So authoritative, but not aggressive. Firm and clear, but not bossy. Even as adults, when we're being spoken to by someone in a position of authority, we want them to be communicating clearly and also respectfully. So this is the first step. Now, another important point regarding power struggles are the great words of wisdom that we've all heard, and that is choose your battles. This is so true, but it's also really difficult. And it can take years to learn what are the things that are worthwhile to insist on and what you can let go of. It's a good thing that Hashem gave us at least 18 years to work with our children before adulthood and sending them off out into the world till we build up our parenting skills. So here's a good rule of thumb that I often ask myself when having to choose a battle. A, question number 1, is this truly important for my child in the big scheme of life? B, is my child really ready for this right now? C, am I ready to enforce this? And if the answer to any of these questions is no, then it's just not the battle to fight right now. If the answer to any of these questions is yes, this is something that's truly important for my child in the big scheme of life, something that they really need to learn, and yes, my child is developmentally ready for this right now, and yes, I am ready to enforce it, then it's a battle I've got to put my foot down on. The last important point that I want to make for today is the idea of learning how to take out our batteries when our child is trying to pull us into a power struggle. So imagine that you are an electronic toy that normally flashes lights and makes lots of noise when your child pushes their buttons. You know that toy that the battery never runs out? Well, imagine yourself being that toy and you just take your batteries out. So the moment that you see that your child is getting into that power battle mode, turn yourself off. And this means holding yourself back from reacting. There will be no flashing lights. There's going to be no loud noises. And you're going to use your inner self-control to show a blank reaction. If you need to, walk away. This takes all of the energy out of the power struggle, because when there's no one to battle, your child will eventually calm down. If for some reason you need to stay around and you do need to say something to your child in this situation, you have to do everything you can to not allow yourself to get into an argument. This is not a conversation. This is not a back and forth. This is a time for a broken record. Whatever you need to say, it's in a calm voice, short, simple, assertive sentences, authoritative. Be a broken record if you need to. Repeat your statement calmly. And if necessary, walk away. But just pull the plug, take the batteries out, and don't get pulled into it. Now, I want to end off with one reminder that I just want to share from personal experience. No parent is perfect, and sometimes we need to remind ourselves that it's okay. Sometimes we're going to get it right, sometimes we won't. Sometimes we'll get pulled into a power struggle and realize, why did I let myself get caught up in that? And sometimes we're going to learn from that experience. And at the end of the day, we're all just growing and trying our very best to find the strength to both work on ourselves and to grow in our parenting skills. So that's all for today. I look forward to our next episode of How to Raise a Mazel Mentch. Shabbat Shalom.